moment. Yeah, well, probably. Well, good morning, guys. We've got a crew. We've got Sam here. He's messing around with cameras as per usual. And we've got Dylan, and we've got Dylan. Yeah, that's confusing, eh?
Pretty straightforward.
I'm not going to with a fixed speed. Is it a PDL? No, it's a PDL. Yep, good. Yep. Yeah, 15 here.
It's fucking dirty. I can see it, but only just.
Carway splashing there.
Ooh. Plenty of sign.
That's Carway.
Oh, look at it there, wow.
Yeah. That's probably Trevally, and that's Carway in front of it.
Whew. On here, boys.
Quietly go.
Oh, you're right on them.
The fish is still there.
Wow.
Look at that Carway.
Woo. Still there. Good morning, everybody. Whoa, we got 4 on board. The water is green. We've got 2 in the water. We've got Dylan 1 and Dylan 2. We've got Kerry. We're just trying to get a feed. It's Sunday before Christmas, and I mean, good sign already. Pity the water's so green. We've just been in on the deep pin and couldn't even see it. So, yeah. Okay, so it's at this part of the dive. I just got back to Kerry's boat. Kerry was about a minute behind me. The neighbouring boat that we're about to swim up to, the guy at the side of the boat was making a lot of noise. I yelled out a couple times to see if everything was all right. Kind of sounded like they were having a domestic. They weren't waving at us. They weren't crying for help. They weren't really acknowledging us at all. But we could tell there was something off. I think it was then at that stage, the guy in the little boat who had a diver or 2 down underwater at that stage said, I think they need help. So at this stage, there was a guy in the water by the boat, a woman in the boat, and a guy up on the rocks. That was as much as we knew of the situation. Kerry was first in because he'd literally just got back into the boat, and I was probably 30 seconds or a minute behind him. I'm going to blur their faces purely just for their own privacy in this situation, but we're going to run through what happened, how we went about it, and kind of how poorly a lot of the things they did, and it sort of showed a lot of how people drown in the water. So we'll roll the clips now. What's happened? You just keep the boat off the rocks. What's happened? What's happened? Oh, you're alright. We got you. Oh God. Can you take your mask off, or do you want to leave it on?
Please.
Yeah. We got you. You just keep this boat off the rocks, eh?
Okay. You got me ankles.
Yeah, we got you. What happened?
I was down a pattern of
Yeah. You got him?
Yeah, can we get him around to the back of the boat?
Ah!
Oh, we got you.
Please.
Yeah, we got you.
Help me.
Carlos, we got you.
I can't breathe anymore.
Yeah, I know, Carlos.
We got you. No, stay on your back. Stay on your back. We got you.
No, we need to get him on the boat.
We don't forget about the back.
Yeah.
Let's go. We got you. Yeah. We got you. You're all right. You're at the ladder. You okay? How are we going to get him in?
If someone gets on the boat, can you hold him or get him on the boat?
Yep. It's just me, okay? So, oh, it's just me, hang on. You're alright, you're alright, you're alright.
You're okay. You're okay.
I got you, you're alright. You're okay. You're at the ladder, okay? Can you grab his arm, Kerry?
Yep.
You're at the boat. Just,
Yep, got the mask.
you're alright.
Okay, mate.
Keep
Come on.
your head up. Keep your head up.
Get this other.
Get your other arm up.
Here.
There you go.
That's it.
You're up. On three, there we go. We got you.
We got him.
I got you. You're not going anywhere. You go. Kick yourself in. You okay? Hop in the boat. Hop in the boat. Because if you slip back, you're not in yet. Oh, you go for drag him in, because if he slips back and hits his head, get him into the boat properly. Because if he slips, do you want me to get your flippers off? You're in. And here, after getting him safely into the boat, I ducked over to the other guy on the rocks to see what he was doing, if he was okay, and decided to move him back to the boat. I had to wear his weight belt and made sure he was okay. He said he didn't have the energy to swim back, which I told him he's going to have to, and he can swim with me, he can use me as a life aid. I didn't have a weight, I had his weight belt on, but I didn't have my weight belt on, so I was comfortable. I don't know.
Um,
And we just had to make sure everyone was fine. He's not in a good shape. Nah, she's on the phone. He might have had a heart attack, maybe. I'm not sure. Oh, he's in the boat, yeah. I think, yeah. She's on the phone. You might want to get back there and.
Yeah, I can't carry my weight there, but I was drowning before.
Okay.
Yeah, way too heavy.
Chuck it here. I'll get it there.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to try and make it to the back of the boat.
I'll take this. We'll get you over there.
Oh yeah. Well, there's a chain there. What's the matter, Kerry? Aye? Yeah, is he okay? What's happened?
Big medical event.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Do you want me to go shorten your rope up?
Now, to make their troubles worse, when they've anchored the boat, the anchor got stuck in the rocks on the current, and they also hadn't tied it off. So they were drifting towards the rocks. I went to swing the boat around and drag it away because they were just in a sort of a panicked state. I then went and pulled the anchor out of the rocks, and the guy who I helped swim back from the rocks.
Hey, the rope's not tied off on the front. There's your problem. Pull yourself in a bit on this anchor. I'll make sure it holds.
In a panicked flurry, while I was under the boat pulling the anchor out, he's put the boat into gear and just had an absolute shocker right above me. I think then they either took all the rope off and threw the anchor away or cut it, I'm not quite sure, and just, again, a panicked hurry and took off back to shore. It was at this stage. Kerry was on board with them, so we just followed. We jumped in, I swam back to Kerry's boat, and we followed them back in.
Keep an eye on them where they're going. I have never seen people more panicked. Like he's had a heart attack or something. I think they're just fucking panicking. We'll have to follow them. That's the thing, I look like they're probably gonna...
So they ducked through a little channel which they could fit the boat through. We couldn't fit Kerry's boat through. So we were probably 5 to 10 minutes behind them, chasing in Kerry's boat when we finally found them, because we didn't actually know where they'd gone because we lost sight of them. We finally found them. By then they were at the beach. Kerry had learnt obviously a bit more about the situation than I had. We still don't know what happened. By the time I got to them, anchored the boat and jumped and swam ashore. They had a defib on him. They'd cut his wetsuit off. We believe he'd shit in his wetsuit, which someone said indicates as a heart attack. We think he may have had a heart attack in the water. The AMBO and the helicopter, there's a clip of the helicopter coming in right here, had been called. Apparently it was mum and the twin boys. The boys are 31, which seems a bit bloody young to be having a heart attack, but of course this all depends on what sort of shape you're in when it comes to water activities. It was at this stage really we just left them. We'd done as much as we could do. We were sort of happy. He was not overly coherent. He was aware of what's just happened, but he had a mask on. He was breathing oxygen, and as far as we know now, he survived. So I guess, overall, to wrap up this experience, I myself have done a lot of sketchy things in the ocean. I have been close to drowning doing silly things probably several times. Nothing to this degree where I actually needed rescuing. My own level of confidence in the water is to the point where I feel I can rescue myself. Obviously there are certain elements that come into play in the water, but I think the negatives from the situation was out of respect to them, nothing they did well. The fact that they didn't communicate with us that he was struggling, or her in the boat, mum in the boat, didn't communicate to us. She didn't yell out. She didn't wave. She basically didn't even really acknowledge our existence. And we were like a 30-second quick swim from them. We weren't very far. We were within 100 meters of them. They never yelled out that they needed help, even after I yelled out a couple times to see if everything was okay. That, to me, was the biggest mistake they made of that whole exercise, was not signaling to us that they needed help. We decided to help them find out what was going on. Of course, in a panic state, your judgment in every sense tends to go out the window. He was not overly responsive in the water, as you've probably seen, and she was even less responsive. When asking what had happened, I was asking what had happened to find out what we were dealing with. I've done a first aid course, things like that, but what I was trying to find out is, has he been bitten in half, which he obviously wasn't because there wasn't blood anywhere. Had he slipped in the boat and broken his back? What I was trying to do is finding out what we can do with this guy, because we're going to need some force to get him out of the water. There is no way she would have got him into the boat by herself. And the brother was kind of oblivious to what was even going on. He was not keen on leaving that rock. I had to tell him, he said to me in between the clips, because I stopped recording for a bit, he said to me he didn't have the energy to swim back to the boat, and I told him he didn't really have a choice. And then he said, they'll come to get him, and I said, no, they won't. I've come to get you. So you're swimming with me, and I said, you just stick right with me, and if you need anything, use me, you can rest on me. And that was his instructions. I made that very clear, and I also I didn't give him a chance to back out. He was moving, and I told him we were moving and we were going. So, there was a lot of negatives, which is sort of probably just in a panic state. You do not know what's going on, and I think when people are not terribly responsive to you and kind of ignoring you, almost, it seems like they're ignoring, is they're just panicked and they're not making the right decisions. From not tying the boat off to obviously putting it in gear while I was under the boat, just nothing. They, as far as I'm concerned, they did not do a lot right on the stay. For divers of that level and whatever they were doing, they shouldn't even have been out at that spot. That is a high current, deep water place, and I mean, my 2 cents, they should certainly not be diving for kinner there. That's the negatives. The positives were, I think myself and Kerry handled the situation very well. We were calm. We were sort of had our shit together as much as we could have, given the situation. I'm overall happy with that. Who knows what had happened if we weren't there to help him. We sort of ran through the situations. He was not far from going underwater and actually taking water on board and probably drowning, we feel. He was not in a good shape at all, as you've seen when we got him to the boat. It's very, like, it's quite overwhelming and hard to think what had happened if we weren't there to help. So when we left, we told him, you were meant to live today. For some reason, you're meant to be here, and we're glad he's here. We'll probably never see these people again in our lives. As mentioned, I've hidden their identity just for their own privacy, but I have used this footage purely as hopefully a bit of an education tool, especially for you guys out there who are a little bit inexperienced and panic. I mean, I don't know how to cure yourself of panicked situations other than by putting yourself in panicked situations. Solid effort to the guys. Thanks for Kerry. I'm just happy. I was quite emotional on the drive home from it all, because it was just, it was meant to happen. It was meant to play out like that. I feel very lucky for him and that family, mum and the twins. So if you guys ever see this video, we're thankful we were there that day. We're glad, as far as when we were, he's okay, and all you guys are okay. But I think guys should probably sort of brush up on a few skills and your own possible health or fitness if you're going to be continuing to doing this, because that was a very dangerous situation that day. So that's kind of it. We got nothing. for the rest of that day diving, I've pretty much just cut the footage. So, yeah, that was a very real life. That is the most. I've had to help with a car accident this year. We've almost sunk a boat. We're out on it this year. It's actually been in some quite stressful situations for myself this year, and it has been a good year. It has been a lucky year. So I hope you guys who've watched this have been able to take something from it. It's a bit of a ramble here for me right at the end, but of course it was quite an overwhelming exercise for us, and we're glad everyone survived. So it's summer here now in New Zealand. Everyone hopefully stay safe out there. Know your limits. That is a big thing here. Know your limits and know what you're up to. And if you guys need help, you need to communicate with others that are around you. That is probably was the biggest mistake here in this whole thing. So, yeah, big thanks to Kerry. If we weren't out there that day, that guy probably, possibly more of them, wouldn't have been here. So we're pretty happy with that. I'm Sam Price. Hopefully see you guys at the beach.